Greetings, students, and welcome to another Keywords and Concepts video here in week 8 in the British of the South. So for this week, we're really going to be learning more about economic stratifications in Britain and how that drove a lot of immigration west, right? So let's start with, what is a gentleman? Sounds kind of stupid, but stay with me. Just stay with me on this one. All right, so a gentleman usually denotes a member of the landed gentry. What does that mean? It means they own land, literally. Now, obviously, not all gentlemen own land because, well, there was only so much land and there were quite a few gentlemen. And you see this particularly with second sons, things of this nature. Now, I actually considered putting primogeniture on here as a keyword for you, but I skipped it. I'm going to talk about it just a little bit, though. So primogeniture was the idea within these families. It's kind of how they held on to the aristocracy, that your estate absolutely had to go to your eldest son. You could not choose someone else. You could not, no, it did not matter if you did not have an oldest son. Congratulations, you can't give your child your estate. So when we talk about gentlemen, we're talking about a very specific group of very wealthy people. They're not always super wealthy. But somewhere back in the line, someone had something that made them important to the king, and they were given this kind of magical thing where they got to be gentlemen. The most important part of this is that gentlemen never worked. Ever, ever, ever. It was considered awful, like a shameful thing, right? So like think Downton Abbey, right? For all of this stuff. Mary couldn't inherit Downton Abbey because she was a girl, right? Same idea, primogeniture. And her father never worked, and they lost their minds when they realized Matthew wanted to work. I'm sorry if you didn't watch Downton Abbey, none of this makes sense. But we've seen this with concepts of aristocracy in England, right? It's a little weird to us because we don't have it, but they really thought themselves a step above everyone else, right? Half of Jamestown, we're learning about Jamestown this week, half of their colonists were gentlemen. Half. Half. Also, no ladies in Jamestown for years. Eventually, when they realized they kind of needed women, they had to bribe or trick them to come. It wasn't going well, mostly because there were all these reports coming back that the men were like bowling in the streets, and it was just crazy. And so the last little bit here, this is kind of our economic slide for the week, is the Virginia Company. Not what we think of when we think of a company, right? We just think of people getting together to make money when we think of a company. No. These would have been very important people who would have had to have gotten a charter from the king in order to do business anywhere in the king's territory. So these would have been very fancy people, very placed people, very important people who would have had a connection to the king, would have had resources, would have had all of that in order to be able to do that. So when we're looking at Virginia, this was exclusively a money-making endeavor, right? As you can see from all the things in this keywords and concept video, this was about money. This was 1,000% about money. This was not about anything else. They weren't trying to get away from anything. They weren't trying to establish a new whatever. They wanted to make money. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.